So good morning. I'm going to turn up my volume. Good morning. My name is Judge Person. I do welcome everybody to court this morning, and I'll probably repeat myself in a moment because there'll be a number of people who are just connected to audio. So good morning. One moment. There we go. Sometimes things don't work exactly the way we want. So anyway, let me get that situation solved. So I do welcome everybody to court, and I still have people kind of checking in. And I do want to welcome everyone, but I also want to let you know there are a few people that either I can identify you or I don't see what your case is with the court. So I do want to make sure that I have the right files pulled, basically. So one person I would ask, well, that one is not connecting yet. Okay, so gentleman kind of has a red beard named James. And if you could just unmute, go ahead and unmute James and just tell me your name, full name, please.
James Reed Christianitis.
Oh, there we go. Great. Okay, I'm going to put that in the name for you for the purpose of this meeting. It won't change it permanently. But I just don't want to lose track of you either. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Mr. Christianitis. And then a gentleman labeled Mark Espino. Could you unmute and just tell me your full name?
My name is Mike Emiliano Espino Valdez.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Let me just change that on the screen. I have you as Mr. Lopez, but I can
That's fine.
Make sure that we have it right. This meeting. And then I have a couple of people. Well, let's see. Andrew Wolf, remind me who you're here for. You're here for George, Mariah George, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Thank you. And gentleman labeled U705AC. Could you unmute and just tell me your name? They were on video just a moment ago. I'm going to ask you to, oh, there we go. No? Let's see. So I'll just move forward. Yeah, there you go. Sir, can you tell me your name? Construction outfit, maybe. You've got a yellow. Yeah, you keep going in and out. Can you unmute, please? So moving on, iPhone user, sweatshirt. I just asked you to unmute. Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry.
What's your name, please?
Antoine Willett.
What's that last name?
Willett.
Willett. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Willett. And I had another iPhone user. What happened? Maybe they got disconnected. Gentleman in the construction shirt, and you're back on screen. Could you unmute and tell me your name? Can't hear you. There we go.
Good morning.
What's
Darren Drummond.
Darren what?
Drummond.
Drummond. Thank you, Mr. Drummond.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's see. I think that's all for now. I had a few others, but they seem to have logged out. Let's see.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm here. My name is Kelvin Vasquez Lopez.
Yes, I have you down and I can see your name on the screen.
Okay,
So
no
I
problem.
don't go through and call everybody's name, but where somebody's named themselves iPhone, for example, I don't know what file to pull for that. So I just clarify at the beginning, and that way it's a little easier to make sure I have everything I need. And then I've got another person coming in and I can't identify them. Let's see, Mason, Brandon A. Mason. Any clues, folks, back here? Oh, he was logged in earlier. I guess he got disconnected. Okay. I knew it looked familiar, but I couldn't realize why. Okay, I don't see anyone else right now that I don't know. So what I do next is I need to kind of explain how the morning is going to work. It does help. Good morning, Mr. Mason. Welcome to court. And we're just kind of launching in for pro se folks, just kind of how things work. So we actually have 2 dockets running this morning, and everybody will have an opportunity to be unmuted and talk to me if you need to. If you're on the not guilty docket, we call that the pretrial docket today for today's purpose, then that's a meeting with the prosecutor who is here. And Mr. Matson, could you give us a wave? Where are you, sir? Let's see. He was here a moment ago. There we go. Hi, Mr. Matson.
Your Honor.
Thank you. So everybody who just sees Mr. Matson as the city's prosecutor, Mr. Matson represents the state of Texas in the cases on trial, and he'll be actually meeting with you if you have a pretrial. And that docket, I'm about to start that docket in just a quick moment. That's what we call a breakout room with this particular Zoom system. And if you're in that meeting, you'll actually go into that meeting with him. After that meeting, you'll come back in this room. I'm calling it a room. It's a virtual room, but we're just going to call it a room. You'll come back in this room and we'll kind of flesh out what needs to happen next. So there'll be kind of a 2-part point to that. And I'm going to go ahead and create that room real quickly. And actually, Mr. Matson, I'm going to send you to that room with the first person, attorney from the McMahon law firm, Mr. Martin. And that's on the, let's see, Jonathan McGee case. So let me send you there. And also, thank you. And also, Mr. Martin, find you a list of things. There we go. I think it'll send you, and that works better. I think I've got that fine-tuned the right way. Hopefully that worked for him. He froze on screen. That usually means he's there. And then actually, Mr. Mason, you'll be next, and Mr. Wolf after that. And we'll just keep going into the folks that are here on that docket. So before we get started, and if you were live in court, I would explain this as well. So every case, okay, when filed in a court like this one, this is the Temple Municipal Court, and we're a municipal court. So that means that we handle the criminal offenses that are alleged to have happened in Temple and its jurisdictional limits, okay? And these are Class C offenses. They don't result in the imposition of jail time. People can have warrants. They can have what are called capious warrants or capious profile warrants, depending on kind of what's happening with that case. And there's just a variety of things. And if you have warrants, I'll talk to you about those warrants today. We'll try to get you into a track to get away from that situation and move into a solution. Okay, so I'll be very solution driven with warrant cases, especially, but with every case, I think you'll find that's the sort of flavor, if you will, of what I try to do here. So I also like to educate people, and most of us represent ourselves in a court like this one. So as I said, this is a Class C court. The cases filed here are Class C offenses. And again, they result in the imposition of fines and costs. There's a lot of ways to break down the money on cases, and I'll talk more about money in a moment. And there are alternatives to that depending on people's individual circumstances. So if you filled out a financial affidavit for the court, the reason for that is for me to make a rational assessment of your situation, and everybody's situation really can be very, very different at times, and things can change. But I want to let you know a few things. Like in law, we always have what we call a general rule, and then we have a bunch of exceptions. So generally speaking, when you're given a ticket or issued a citation, that's a method that we have under the law for accusing you. That's what a ticket does. Now, if you have a criminal offense, you might have received a summons in the court, and that too is another way of accusing someone. It's that it's a request for you to come into court because a complaint has been filed. And if you've got something like that, you may have received a summons instead of a ticket. But they work the same way in that you're being accused of something. Now, when you give a plea, you're giving an answer or a response to the accusation on that ticket or complaint. And there are three options, there are three options for pleading in this type of court: guilty, not guilty, no contest. Of course, we're presumed to be not guilty, and that changes either at trial or that changes. Ms. Dixon, it appears to me that you're driving. If you're driving, you need to, okay, because it started looking like maybe you were moving around and driving, and that's something I just, it's not lawful. So I stop people at that point and say, hey, call back in. I got you. I'm just explaining.
Sitting still.
I got you. I didn't think you were driving initially, and then it started looking like movement. So anyway, moving forward. So guilty, not guilty, no contest are those options. Now, guilty means I did this and you're just admitting that offense. Not guilty is just maintaining that innocence, but it is a request to move the case toward a trial process. And so we have that pretrial docket today, and then there's a final pretrial for you as well to come in the courtroom. If the case is not resolved after today, then we have a time to come in the courtroom, see what we need to do in terms of heading that case toward trial, the trial docket. It's not a problem to have trial, but there is a two-step process for that. And we'll just go in that direction. And because we're really going the direction that you are taking the case with your plea. So your plea tells me what you're trying to do. And if you plead no contest, that just means I'm not contesting it. It's not admitting it. It's not denying it. It's not asking for a trial. It's moving forward with sentencing without admitting or denying the offense. It's kind of a neutral way to move into sentencing. So if you plead guilty or no contest, then you're moving into sentencing. If you plead not guilty, you're moving that case toward trial, okay? And if you're not with me so far, just make a note about where it stopped making sense and ask me when it's your turn, because I can't give legal advice, but I can answer the how did things work question of, what happens in a courtroom and what I'm doing, and even to a certain degree, why. So if you plead guilty or no contest, then we're moving into sentencing. Now, normally, like I said, general rule, that means it goes on your record, you're paying the fines and costs, okay? But with all general rules, there are some exceptions. So there's still 4 ways to gain a dismissal. And let me just briefly hit on those so you kind of know what those are. And that way, if you have questions about it, you can ask me when it's your turn. So the dismissals run in order: compliance dismissals, driver safety course options, deferred dispositions, and teen court. Now, compliance dismissals are things that can be brought up to date and dismissed. The law has to specify that we can do that. If the law specifies it and we can do that, then we try to do that. And I start walking you through those to see if you're eligible, because the law says the judge will. And so I will walk through that with you. Almost all of those require that you be on time to court. If you've missed a court date, the court date's on the ticket, okay? And if you miss that court date, you do kind of lose some options. And then there might still be other options, but compliance is a very narrow, what we call a narrow window, okay? I'm not going to go through the list right now because that would take a lot more time, and I'm afraid I'd glaze some people over with the detail, but just generally, like one example would be registration of the vehicle. And if you're cited for that, you're on time to court, you did your paperwork properly with the DMV, you come in here, you pay a $20 dismissal fee instead of the ticket, and it's not a conviction. And that's all that you owe at that point if you meet the requirements that are specific. And I'll walk you through those specific requirements. You're welcome to ask me about it. I'm not going to wait for you to ask me about it. I'm going to start moving in that direction to see if I can get you there, okay? The next thing is if you qualify for a driver safety course option. And those are for moving violations in Texas. And then there are some specific requirements. Again, I'll walk you through those. On that, and let's talk a little bit more about money. I said I would. You pay the court costs. So every ticket, when you get the number from the clerk, that's kind of what we sometimes call a window fine. And we can look at that a lot of different ways, okay? In the driver safety course context, the state law is that you pay the court costs. So every ticket has a court cost and a fine. Okay, so you get that whole number from us. In the driver safety course option, you pay the court cost. The fine goes on hold. That's because the legislature sets the court cost, the judge sets the fine. Okay, so you pay the court cost. I can't waive them or change them. I can work with you a little bit on when we collect them. So I would be asking you about that. You qualified for the program, you pay the court costs, the fine goes on hold. If you turn in your course and your record, your driving record, you get the case dismissed. It doesn't go on your record as a conviction, and the fine that was on hold gets waived. Okay, so that's a way to save some money. It's still cheaper, even though you have to pay for the class and you pay for the record and you pay the court cost. It's still less expensive than the fine. I mean, the whole ticket. And part of that is really the goal of traffic safety is really to encourage that course where we can, where people are eligible, because we know there's a correlation between safe driving and taking that class, getting a reminder every so often, about every 12 months, they say. So that's why the law is specifically the way that it is on that. So that's option 2 for dismissals. The third option for dismissal is a deferred disposition. That works a little differently. Listen up if you haven't been, or try to just focus for a minute. The deferred disposition is like, sometimes we call it probation. It's not probation, but it kind of looks like that because there's a good behavior period, usually up to 6 months. And during that time, we have to figure out the payment issue and how that's going to look. It's different per person. And whether there's a class, whether there is a record of some sort, or a service requirement that we're needing to have done. Some of those are driven by me, and some of those are driven by the law, but it's really depends on each situation. So anyway, those are kind of the things that can happen in there. We put it in a document, and I sign it, you sign it. Sometimes the prosecutor signs it, sometimes an attorney for you signs it. But in any event, a deferred disposition, at the end of the deferred disposition, if you meet the demands of that document, which are listed, then your case is dismissed. Okay. And so with that dismissal, that's a way to keep it off your record as a conviction. As with all things, though, there is a record, just like there's a record of the ticket, there's a way to gain a dismissal. And so just looking at the options there, that's one of the options. That's the third one. With that one, the law is very specific that you ask for the deferred at the time that you enter a plea. So guilty or no contest, I'd like a deferred, okay? That's the way that you ask, all right? And then the fourth option is if you qualify for teen court. If you qualify for teen court, if I think you're qualified for teen court, I'll start talking to you about teen court. And you don't have to specifically ask for it, but you can. And I'll see if we can get you into the teen court program, which is a young person's program, high school students and below. It's like a deferred in a way, but works a little differently because you're a student. Okay, so those are the 4 ways to gain a dismissal. If you remember nothing else, remember that you're supposed to request a defer when you enter a plea. And then the judge needs to think about whether the judge is going to grant that. And I will consider every request, okay? And if you don't remember, just say, I don't remember, how to keep it off my record. And we'll talk about that. Anyway, so at the risk of blazing everybody over and boring everyone, I will move on forward. Mr. Mattson, it does look to me like you and I believe Mr. Martin had communicated. And y'all, the two of you, if you will unmute while I just pull that file real quickly. And good morning, Mr. Martin. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine, Judge. How are you?
I'm fine. And Mr. Mattson, I greeted you earlier, but I hope you're well as well. And it does look like we have case pending for Ms. McGee, or Mr. McGee, excuse me. And that's a speeding charge. Mr. Mattson, are we heading, just let me hear from the state first, and then Mr. Martin, are we moving forward with that case today, or are we heading to trial or toward resolution?
We are heading towards a resolution, Your Honor.
Okay.
The state requests a 120-day deferral where Mr. McGee will pay the full fine and court costs and take a driver's safety course.
Okay.
And can we ask that the case be reset to the final pretrial date so that Mr. McGee has a chance to consider this?
Right. Okay. Yes. He probably needs to take it to the client. If we set it, and so what we're going to do is set that for April 20th at 1 o'clock. If the deferred is entered before then I would, first of all, make an assumption that we would have a payment within 30 days from sending that, both signatures in from both of you, 30 days from that day, with the driving course due 60 days from that day. And I'm just trying to tell y'all what to do to avoid being in court on that day, if that's what your goal ultimately winds up being. And so, Mr. Mattson, I would assume that you and Counselor Martin would just coordinate that document and get it to me if that's the agreement. And if not, then we'll see both of you on April 20th in court at 1 o'clock. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Sounds
Mr.
good,
Martin,
Judge.
yes? That works
Yes, Your
for you,
Honor.
Mr. Martin? Okay, very good.
Yes, Your
All right. So I will let Mr. Martin go. Thank you very much for your time. We'll send you the notice of court hearing through the email that we have on file that we set this meeting up today. And then I'm
Great. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir. And then I'm moving Mr. Mason on the Jaden Caldwell case forward with you, Mr. Mattson and Mr. Mason. Let me find you in my list. I'm sorry. Sometimes it lists by first name and sometimes it lists by last name. And so that's always fun. Let's see. And Mr. Martin, you're excused from court. You're good to go. Looks like he finally got logged out. Let's see. Yes, for Caldwell, but he's on my list. You know, the drop down. There he is, Brandon. Okay, Mr. Mason, I'm going to send you on over to that room, and Mr. Mattson, you just click back over. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started as well with Ms. Dye, Lavorden Dye. Ms. Dye, are you able to unmute, and how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Judge.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I know it doesn't, it looks different depending on who's on what side of things, you know. And so sometimes people move around while I'm talking to them. And let me just take a quick moment. I did receive your request for payment plan, and it does look like that will work for you. But let me just kind of look at the full set of papers. We had some old cases of warrant, and I just want to verify the pleas that you've entered today, make sure I've understood. And I'm sorry, it does look like you've been through kind of a tough time, and it does look like things are improving, and I hope that's still ongoing improvement for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And just always let us know, like, for example, today, if we set something up to do, if you hit a bad patch, you know, something happens. Like sometimes people set up a payment plan and then they lose their job. And I hope that doesn't happen to anyone here, but it can happen. And then people kind of don't know what to do. And it's very human nature to go like, I think if I'll just ignore it, maybe it's going to get better. We've all had that happen, I think. And I'm not specifically lecturing you, but you had some warrants. You're not the only one I'm going to talk to today. So I'm not trying to single you out. But what I want you to know is I will listen if something happens like that. So you can swing by or you can email in a form, you know, one of those contact forms like what you filled out, you know, where you talk to me a little bit about what had been happening for you. You
Yes,
can
ma'am.
always drop another one of those at me, okay? And ask to meet with me either this way, or we're going to start going back to live court here in a few short weeks, months maybe, but not a long time. And I'm available to do that with you. So if something comes up that's unanticipated, or for some reason this doesn't work, you reach out, because I won't know. And I'm not really interested in creating a difficult situation for you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I want you to know how to avoid that so that it doesn't happen for you again, because it really is common, not uncommon, that people, don't know what to do. And so maybe they don't do anything, and then it gets worse for them. So I have that, there was a speeding charge. There were two, and these are back. Some of them are a little bit old, like one's from 2016, a speeding charge. I have a guilty plea on that. Another speeding charge from January 27th, 2019, a guilty plea on that. A no insurance charge from April 5th of 2019 with a guilty plea on that. And then for each stop, there was one charge filed of not coming to court. We call that violating that promise to appear, which is just at the bottom where you sign the ticket saying, I agree, I'll come to court. That did get filed. The payment request that you made, I have no problem with it. To me, it looks a little tight on your budget, and I think that we could drop that a little bit, and just based on your income and your financial constraints, I mean, you're making it fine, but it's still a little close in my mind. Like if you have something happen that you're not prepared for, it could even be a dental bill, people like for your child or something. Like I'm thinking of myself because my child recently had a bike wreck and knocked a tooth out, and that was like, whoa, suddenly a bunch of money. So things like that can happen. And what I think I'm going to do, we need to get a signature today from you. And I see that you're over in Colleen. I can fax, I can fax it. I can email the document to you and you can sign it. I need a legal signature, not a DocuSign. So you'll have to print it and sign it and scan it back or photograph it back over to us. Do you have the ability? Are you able to do that way?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I send it, I'm going to work on some reductions on your two violation of the promise to appear. Given what you've told me in your documentation, I think there probably were just a number of things happening, and that might be part of what contributed to this not coming into court. It was not maybe the priority with all of that. So I'm going to reduce those fines, and I just want to take those fines off on those two cases. So your total will change, and we'll send that over. And then what I'm going to say is, why don't we do $80 a month, and you're able to pay more if you want to, and just get done faster. We're not going to penalize you, but I want to make it like always doable. It's more my goal. And it looks like where you're working, you're getting paid every 2 weeks. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
like every other Friday, every other Thursday? What does that look like for you?
It's every other Friday.
Okay. And does that mean this Friday or next Friday?
Next Friday.
So what we could do is we could look at the option of just, sorry, I'm trying to pull my calendar while I talk to you, and I've made it where I can't, get to it. So that's okay. What I'll do is say, why don't we, you said next Friday, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't we start next Friday and just go $40 every other week?
Okay.
Will that work for you?
Yes, ma'am. That'll work.
And believe it or not, that means we start on April Fool's Day.
Okay.
4-1. And with your signature today, I'll recall the warrants. So once I receive that back from you, I'll go ahead and recall your warrants, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And then just keep your address current too. And, if that changes, let us know.
Okay.
Have questions?
No, ma'am.
Decided to knock things over. Okay, so, we'll send that over to you probably just shortly this morning, okay?
Okay.
Okay, if you don't receive it somehow this morning, call the clerk's desk and ask what happened, okay?
Okay. Not a
All right.
problem.
All right,
right.
thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ms. Dye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, stay well. Oh. Sure, okay. Okay, well, we've had some changes over here, and so yes, unfortunately, sometimes that means we're trying to locate a printer for one of the clerks. So Eduardo, and I'll say this wrong, Marmolejo Ramirez? Are you still with us? There you are, Eduardo. Can you get on screen? Can you get on screen, please? Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Good, and you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. So let's see. We had a deferral and it runs until the 15th. So it's kind of done. And you were supposed to send in a driver's license by February 1st. And we don't have it.
It's because I wasn't able to get it for the school, for the verification of attendance or whatever.
Okay, are you not attending?
Well, I am now. I transferred schools, but I just moved to the new school, so I haven't been able to get one yet.
What does that attendance office say?
The attendance office sent me to the other school.
Okay, so they're not going to help you either. All right. One thing that I'm willing to do, if you still would like to keep this off your record, would be you're 17, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just looking for this January. You just turned 17. So I can't really hope that you get the license this school year, right? So I could extend you until May. But I would require that you take a driving safety course online.
That's fine. I already took one, but I can take another one, I guess.
Which one did you take?
Let me check. I forgot the name of the app. It was the Aceable.
Okay. So here's what I'll do instead. I'll accept that class because I know what that is. And I just need a copy of your certificate of completion. And I'll extend your deferred until May 16th. So the requirement of not reoffending, getting any more citations will be still in effect. Okay.
All
But
right.
I'll take the class that you've already taken. That's acceptable. Can you get that to us today?
Yeah. Do I need to go print out the certificate or?
Yeah, I need it for my file. Can you get that to us today?
Yeah.
I'm going to reschedule this hearing, which is called a show cause hearing, for the Thursday before. I don't necessarily need you to attend. You're welcome to attend. But what I'm going to say about that is that the only reason to attend is if you get more tickets, then I will want to talk to you about them. Okay. So I'm going to schedule that for the 12th of May. But if you want to just kind of verify, call the clerks the day before and just see, do I need to be in that meeting? Or you can log in and just check in with me, okay?
All right.
All right, we'll just schedule that and we'll send you the link, and then it should be all right. Just don't reoffend requirement is going to be in effect. Okay.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Marmolejo, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully I came close. All right, so get that ACEable certificate to us today, right? Absolutely get that today, and then we'll schedule that show cause just in case you don't get it to us today, or if you have more difficulty. But in the meantime, try to get up with it on the attendance enough to qualify to get your license. Okay.
All right.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. To your mom as well. I think that's half of a head, but or sister. I'm not sure. But good luck to you. Okay.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you. And on the Caldwell case, Mr. Matson, Mr. Mason, if y'all will unmute. And Mr. Mason, how are you today?
I'm doing all right, Judge. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. Mr. Matson, are we moving to resolution or are we moving to trial?
We're going to go ahead and do kind of the same thing we did on the last case and reconvene on April 20th so that Mr. Mason has a chance to review the discovery.
Oh, okay. So in this case, we're not pending a deferred right now. We're just going to get that discovery dealt with first. And then now he's an attorney. So y'all have arranged discovery. Because I have a pretrial scheduled with the discovery hearing for April 20th at 1 o'clock, but presumably y'all are able to get that resolved a different way before that date, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So then I would just say to both of you, if the case is still pending without a road to resolution, then I'll expect both of you in the courtroom that day at 1 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge.
Mr. Mason, any questions?
No questions at this point, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You're free to go. Mr. Matson, did you have any questions regarding this particular matter?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, letting y'all move forward then. Mr. Caldwell, I'm sorry, Mr. Mason, you're free to go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
And then I have next up Mr. Wolf. And Mr. Wolf, let's see, let me find you. Oh, goodness. I don't know. It's just a lot of people today, which is no problem, but he was here. Mr. Wolf, you're here. Yes. He could have been disconnected. Mr. Wolf? Okay, well, he seems to be maybe in another meeting. Sometimes attorneys are double booked. So what I'm going to do is just come back to him and keep going. Ms. Griffith, are you there? I'm going to go ahead and send you into that pretrial room. Just remember that when you're done with that conversation, you're coming back in this meeting, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Matson, and you're good to go too.
Thank you, Judge.
And then I'm going to move forward with Christopher Luckett. Good morning, Mr. Luckett. How are you today, sir?
I'm good.
Good.
How
Are you
doing, Your
driving?
Honor?
You're not driving. are you?
I'm riding as the passenger in
That's
the
what I
vehicle
thought.
currently.
You looked very passenger-like earlier as well. Just the seatbelt and I think we've got everybody knows what to expect about that. But I just wanted to verify. So on your case, we have a deferred and it ends tomorrow. And we did not get any proof of the insurance coverage from the accident, which was due here February 28th.
Yes,
So
Your Honor. Sorry.
What's going on with that?
So the vehicle that I was driving at the time was a work vehicle. I was late with turning anything in. It took me quite some time to even find the right person within our company to get a proof of insurance. And then I did get a hold because our vehicles are under, I believe, an umbrella policy. And when I did turn it in, I think there was some confusion between me and the clerks because I had come in multiple times and so did my wife as far as getting the liability card. But then I was told yesterday, you guys also need something from the actual insurance company that says the accident was covered. And I have not been able to obtain that at this point. I do know who to talk to if the court would grant me an extension. I do believe I can get a hold of it now.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the information. Yeah, I mean, what we have on here just says proof that insurance covered the accident. So that's kind of what we're expecting to get. But I can give you an extension. That's not a problem, I don't think. Let me just, right. Yes, I can. So on your case, I would need it by April 26th. Will that work?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's going to extend your deferral out though until May 5th. I'm sorry, May 24th. And I'm rescheduling this hearing that we're having right now is what I call a show cause. And it basically it means, hey, you show cause why I shouldn't convict you. That's what that is. So I'm going to reschedule that. If I don't have the insurance by then, I want you logged in so we can talk about what's happened. Okay. You don't have to come to the court. You can fax this over or email this over. But it's just something, it's usually a letter of coverage for an accident, which that company that covers the vehicle, they absolutely had to receive that. They received a letter for sure saying we're covering this or we're not covering this. So if they're not covering it, then my suggestion would be proof of the coverage they did have and an explanation from them as to why it wasn't covered. Okay.
Yes,
but otherwise they probably just got, it's a letter of, well, some people call it a letter of coverage or a letter accepting liability, a liability letter. There's all kinds of names for it, but that's what we're looking for.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's what we'll do, and that'll give you a chance to just have the benefit of that deferred to go the way you expected it to. Okay?
I appreciate it.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Luckett. You're free to log out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm moving forward with Miss Kinney, Abigail Kinney. Good morning, Miss Kinney. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm looking for you. There you are. Can you get on the screen, please?
How do I do that, ma'am?
Well, you have it turned on so that, and I can't see you, so it's covered up. So I don't know. Sometimes that's like that happened to me when I initially started using my video and I had the same problem. And so for me, it was a camera at the top of my.
Not covered up.
It's not covered. It has like the green light showing that it's on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Then I'm going to have to kind of drill you because you're a potential teen court person. And if you don't have a way to get on screen, then I need you to get out your license and read it out to me. What's your license number, please, ma'am?
Driver's license?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, ma'am. This is her father. I'm trying to help her get on the screen for you.
Okay.
All right. My driver's license number.
I'll take it. There you are. You're on screen. I can see who you are now. It's just, you wouldn't want someone to walk in the door and pretend to be you and say that they couldn't be seen. I would be remiss if I just did that. So I'm good. Okay. So I do have a speeding in a school zone charge. The costs and fines are $279. I have a plea of guilty that you entered with a request for teen court, which I will grant, and proof of enrollment in school, which you did give us. Thank you. And so I would ask you, is that your plea at this time of guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your request for teen court is granted. With teen court, what we do right now is there is a $20 teen court fee. And my first question is, can that be paid today in cash?
Yes, ma'am.
And then in this case with speeding, you would be required to take a driver safety course. You can take it online or you can take it around town. I don't really have an opinion about where you take it, just that it be a 6-hour course. We have some information for you when you come get your teen court paperwork that'll help you find a class. But that would be my request. And if you get that turned in, which will be 30 days from today, April 26th, then I will grant teen court with that requirement, and that will be what you do to gain a dismissal. Do you want to accept that?
Answer, did you hear?
Do you want to accept that?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I think it cut off.
Sorry.
I think it cut off.
Okay. Yeah. Your screen. You're frozen. So I'm not sure that you're even here.
Hit stop video and start again. Hit it and then hit again. Yes,
Can you hear me? Okay, there you go.
Here we are. Okay.
Sorry.
So let me re-review that with you. There's a $20 teen court fee that I'm asking you to pay today, and you've said that you could. And then there's a 6-hour driver safety course that would be due April 26th. And we'll give you some information about how to find a course. Are you willing to take those steps to gain the dismissal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you come up to the court to make your payment and to sign your paperwork today?
Yes, ma'am.
What time can we look for you?
Within the next hour.
Within the next
No.
hour.
That'll be fine. No rush, because we need to get your paperwork ready for you. But it'll be at the front desk. It shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes once you get here. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. We'll have that available for you. Your dad is welcome to be here. I'd like to get a parent signature. At 17, I'm not required to collect it, but he's more than welcome, and I'd like that.
I will go with it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Dad, you're off screen, but do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. I've been sitting here listening. I'm trying to let her do this on her own. This is her responsibility. So
I agree. It's good to have family support, but it is the responsibility of the driver.
yes, ma'am.
Driving is a responsibility, and so I'm with you.
Okay. Thank you for your help. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Can you turn your
Okay, Mr. Mattson, let's see. I believe you were talking with Ms. Griffith. Let me get that case pulled up. Give me a moment. So it was a no insurance charge from January 27th. Is that case? And Ms. Griffith, are you able? Yes, you're unmuted. Great. And how are you, Ms. Griffith?
I'm doing well. You?
I'm fine. Thank you. And Mr. Mattson, are we moving to resolution or are we moving to trial?
We are moving to resolution, Your Honor.
Okay, what is it going to look like?
So we are going to have Ms. Griffith provide proof of insurance to the court. And then I'm going to reduce her fine to $50. So $50, including court costs, will come out to a total of $131. And if she can provide the paperwork, the insurance proof, and the money by Friday, we will go ahead and defer her case.
Deferral?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here's my question. Does the insurance cover the date of the stop? I'm assuming it doesn't, but I just want to verify.
It was purchased immediately afterwards.
How quickly?
It was about 2 hours afterwards or so.
Okay. And so I'm looking for now also, Mr. Mattson, am I looking for a policy covering a month, covering 3 months? What's the agreement?
Ms. Griffith stated that the insurance policy that she purchased is still in effect right now.
Okay. But as a requirement for the deferral.
Oh, it will need to remain in effect through the 90 days.
Okay, so a 90-day deferral?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, with payment on Friday. That's the 25th, I believe. Just double checking. Five. The 131, and then insurance through 6/23. Ms. Griffin, question for you. The insurance that you're going to give us, will it show a policy in effect up through that period of 6/23?
I'm not sure because my husband's the one who did it, and we pay month to month.
Right. Okay. So you'll have to get with your insurance company and either provide something that shows that or come in every month. And I'm trying to get paperwork that reflects what you're going to be doing. So
Okay.
right now, that's kind of like, I don't even know what this deferred total is going to look like. So
Okay.
what I'm going to suggest is, can you run that information down, stay on this meeting and come back to me in a few minutes, like within 30 minutes and figure it out? Or is that not possible? Because it may not be possible. I just don't know.
I'm not sure. He's at work, and I'll have to call him and get the information because I work overnight, so everything that runs our house through the day, he pretty much does. And the only reason why I was out that day was I had a doctor's appointment, and I got pulled over right after the doctor's appointment. So yeah, I would have to call him and find out if he could find out if we can do it longer than month to month, or is that the only option that we have?
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put insurance that you'll show proof this Friday for March through April. Then April 25th, you'll provide proof April through May. And then May, you'll provide proof May through June. And that'll cover it. And if you circumvent that with a policy that shows all of it, great. But now instead of one document, you're gonna provide 3. Okay?
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. So we'll do it that way. And then Mr. Mattson, I'll do that reduction based on your request here in court. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's a reduction. Court costs 50. I mean, plus fine to 50. It should total 130. Let me know if you have further questions. Okay. All right. I think we're good on this one. And Mr. Mattson, I'll move you forward. Your next person is going to be Kelvin Vasquez Lopez. Still here. Let's see. There he is. Great. Okay, Mr. Vasquez Lopez, sending you on over to that meeting. Just remember to come back into this one when you're done, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay, and then let's see. Moving forward, I will go ahead and just visit with my next person. Let me get a moment. Okay, Molina. Ms. Molina, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's see. Okay, I did receive the information. Here's kind of the issue. So I did receive your plea, and I didn't receive a plea. No, sorry, a plea was entered back in the day, and there's just a balance of $527.67. About 80% of that is due to the passage of time, warrant fees, and things that I don't have the ability to control or waive. Let me look and see what I can do. Let me try to pull your case up. So let's see. Oh, let's see, Molina. Got the clerk working on something else, so I'm doing it. It always takes me longer. Let's see. Well, I've got Miss Molina, and I'm looking at a reduction possibility. So let's see. There are collection fees on this one, so any reduction I do to the fine will we'll change that to, I can reduce the fine down by $100.
Okay, I'll go ahead and pay it.
Okay, give me a little bit to get that reduction done. It'll take a few moments. If you want to stay online for another few minutes, and that way I can tell you what the amount is going to be, okay? And she's going to work on it, and then as soon as we get that done, I'll just come back over to you. So just stay there, okay?
Okay.
All right, but I'm not going to forget about you on that
Okay.
one, the fine, but there's a collection fee. Thank you. Okay, we'll be back with you in a moment.
Okay.
Thank you. And while we're working on that, I'm going to go ahead and move forward and talk to James Kristen. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to butcher your name. But sir, if you'll unmute and give me just a quick moment to pull your case up. Christinitis. Oh, I was closer. Okay, so I did look at everything that you submitted, and there was a no contest plea on a speeding charge from February 1st, 2022, with a balance of 554. But the circumstances here, there was a little bit of a discrepancy because your note to me was the 144 fine, but it's actually 254. I can order community service in your particular case.
Okay.
Now I did note that you have a disability.
Yeah.
And so here's the other thing about that. If I order community service and your doctor says you can't do it, then I need that in writing from the doctor to consider whether I can make a different accommodation or make a waiver. Okay.
Okay.
So the due date's still the same. Okay. So what I do now is I just order that community service subject to that doctor approval or disapproval, because I'm no doctor. So I have to let a doctor tell me that. Okay.
Okay.
And you know your situation and whether you need to talk to your doctor about it. So I'm going to trust you to take care of you that way.
Okay.
So right now,
how many hours is it?
Yes. Right now, I was just going to tell you that. Right now, the way that would look is there's an order for 13 hours. And due to the circumstances, I'm actually going to give you 60 days, which is May 24th. And then if I get the hours in, then I get them in. If I get a doctor's note in, then I take that note in and figure out what I'm doing, and I communicate that with you. I have, I noticed you're in Temple. I have a list of places where you can go to do community service that are already pre-approved, but I also will accept from any, and this is critical. I put this in writing, but I've been having trouble with people just, I don't know, maybe they don't read it or I don't know what's going on, but it has to be a nonprofit or I can't accept it. So if you leave the list I give you, that's okay, but make sure it's a nonprofit. Because if it's not a nonprofit, then I don't get to accept it. And then you've done that time, but it didn't count.
Okay.
So what I'm going to ask you is, can you come by to pick up the paperwork today? Because it's not huge, but it's a packet. And it's a little bit easier to know you got it all if you swing by.
Okay. Do I need to do the defensive driving? No. Okay.
Are you requesting a deferral? Is that
yeah. It's just I have Lyme disease, and that's why I'm on disability. And
I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, I'm on a fixed income, and I barely make it every month.
Yeah.
So
I saw that in what you gave me. If you're going to do a deferred disposition, if that's your request to keep it off your record, is that your request?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm granting it. And it's 120 days. No tickets, no warrants, but I'm not requiring a class. I just want either a doctor's note or your community service by May 24th.
Okay.
And so we'll have that at the window for you to sign off on. Okay.
Okay.
And that will end on July 26th.
Okay.
Okay, so there we go. Okay, so we'll have everything at the front for you, including your deferral, as well as information about community service. There'll be one document to sign for the community service that is actually a waiver of liability. It just tells you, you know, if you're injured, the city of Temple doesn't have coverage because we're technically a nonprofit government organization. So
Okay.
they are one of many providers, and everybody's got their own waiver system.
Right.
But if you go, there's multiple departments, and I like them on my list. So I agree to have people sign that in case they pick Temple. And I like having the options because they're kind of all over town. But there are many places, and there'll be some explanation on the front. There'll be a timesheet to keep track of your hours for you to sign off on, for the provider to sign off on, for you to document your hours. It'll have your due date, which will also be in your deferred paperwork. And then there'll be a list of places with some instructions.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions right now?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Christinitis. And good luck with everything.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. And Miss Molina, we do have a total for you. So I was able to get you down to $397.80.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now you can come to the clerk and pay that and get a receipt. You can also go onto the court's website, which is at the City of Temple Municipal Court. And there's a pay system in there if you want to do that. Now that we've done your reduction, it should reflect that amount if you want to do that. Yeah, so those are the ways that you can do that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Molina.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Mr. Wolf, we called your case a little bit ago. I figured you might have had another court. I'll work you back in though, okay?
Thank you, Judge. Yeah, I had to hop into a conference with Judge Tim.
Yes, I understand. Gotcha. We'll get back to you. And I'm just moving forward with Antoine Willett. Mr. Willett, good morning. Are you here? He was here. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep moving. Maybe he'll log back in. I don't see anybody there. But anyway, I'll move forward. Mr. Valdez or Espino, Mike Espino Valdez, good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I'm doing good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. So you're 17 today, and that means that I don't have to have a parent. But do you have a parent with you today?
No, I'm at school.
Okay. So does your teacher know you're online?
Yeah, she let me use the back of her, like a closet in her classroom.
That's what I was thinking. That it looked like you're in a closet somewhere. Okay. So I do have a guilty plea and a request for team court on a no driver's license charge. I didn't get proof of enrollment in school. I need to get that. Where do you go to school?
Temple High School.
Okay. Can you get me like a Skyward printout that you're enrolled? Can you get that to me?
Yes.
Okay. Before we talk about that though, I guess I want to ask you, are you in the process of getting a driver's license?
Yes and no.
Okay, explain.
Okay, so my situation is that my mom doesn't have a Texas ID. She only has an ID from Mexico, and nobody in my family is older than 23.
Okay.
And we've tried to go get my permit, but every time they say that you need somebody with a Texas ID or somebody in the family older than 23. So it kind of pushes us back. So we were just waiting till I turn 18 so I can get it on my own.
Okay, so newsflash, you probably figured this out already. You can't drive.
Yeah.
So how are you getting like home today from school?
Bus.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to get you to court. Can someone properly drive you over after school?
Yes, ma'am.
So bringing me proof of enrollment in school would be what I would want to get today. Also, there's a $20 team court fee I'd like to get today. Is that possible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then I'm going to require a class. I will take ACEable, which sometimes people are getting, to prep to get ready for getting their license. I don't know.
I've taken the class. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Okay. What's the date on your class?
I took it back in 2020.
Okay, I need a new one because honestly, you drove since
Okay.
then. Okay, so it can be ACEable if you want to take it again, or it can be a regular driver safety course for
Yes, ma'am.
non-license holders. That's a little bit tricky because they'll require it that you have a license. So I think we have one. We have one that they can take, right? For a non-license holder, a driving course. Yolanda knows. We're going to check on just making sure that your paperwork shows that. But I will want that by April 26th. Will that work for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all that's going to be ready at the front desk for you after school today. Can you get here by 4:30?
I should be there by 4:30. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We close at 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just don't forget enrollment, okay?
Yes, ma'am. So, sorry, but just to make sure, so I have to have my license by April 26th. And
No,
then,
I know you can't get your license, so I'm not trying to get that from you. What I'm trying to get from you is $20 free if you're enrolled at THS and a class, a driving related safety class, either ACEable or regular driving safety class by April 26th.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any further questions? That was a good question.
No, ma'am. Just jotting everything down on a piece of paper.
Okay. We'll have it in a formal document. So read it when you get here. Make sure you understand what's required of you. If you have questions, the clerk can answer. If the clerk can't answer it, she'll put you back in to a meeting with you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Just don't walk away not knowing what's expected. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Did we figure that out? Okay. He can do ACEable or that. ACEable is a free license class. Mr. Matson, I know that you were visiting with, I'm so sorry, Kelvin Vasquez, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Be able to make it back over? He's still in the meeting. I can try to move him over, but it doesn't always work.
I can jump back over there and let him know to rejoin.
Yeah, I do. It's just a question of him, like.
Oh, there he is.
There he goes. Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Vasquez Lopez. Let me get your file pulled up. Let's see. And so, good morning, Mr. Vasquez Lopez. How are you today?
You.
Good. Okay. And Mr. Matson, this was a parking and a handicap, a first offense. There's a mandatory fine that I don't set. It's set by state law that totals $519. Are we heading to resolution? Or are we heading to trial?
We are heading to resolution, Your Honor. Mr. Vasquez Lopez is actually a disabled veteran.
Okay.
And so I told him, we walked through kind of the process that he had to do to get his disability plates. And so I told him if he can provide to the court the letter from the VA showing his eligibility, the paperwork from the DMV when he got his plates, and then a photograph of the plate itself, I would go ahead and just dismiss his case.
Okay, so we need just the proof of the plates?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and can we get that before your next court date of April 20th at 1 o'clock?
He said he would send it today.
Okay, all right, great. Send that on over. We just need a copy for our file, so you can either bring it by or you can just make a copy. But we need to tie it to you. So if it's a plate, there's a plate and then there's a hanger. Which do you have?
I got the DMV letter with the information for the plate, like with the plate number. It said disabled too, so that work. That will work, I think.
You have the plates yet?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So you're going to send me what came with the plates, basically.
So you need a picture of the plate, or you need like the actual paperwork for the DMV?
Which is the easiest? Both show me the same thing. The paper. Okay. Just, are you sending it through email? I just need to know where to find it. I need to look for it.
I'm going to send the email.
Okay. The email that we sent you the meeting for today, that's the same email, but Court Online Help.
Okay. Okay.
Email it over. Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. And then, Mr. Mattson, that's a dismissal?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Just making sure I understood. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Have a good day, Mr. Lopez.
Okay, moving forward, Mr. Mattson, your next person, let's see, is actually Isabel Laria. And so, Ms. Laria, just going to send you over to that meeting. Just remember when that meeting is done to come back over to this meeting, okay? And then I'm moving forward. I believe, Mr. Willett, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm glad to see you got back in with us. Thank you. I called your case a minute ago, and I can work you back in. I
Yes,
know, I'm
ma'am.
sure you had a technical issue.
Yeah, my phone had died.
Oh, okay. So a couple of things. I did receive your information and a no contest plea. You actually entered a no contest plea and you entered a guilty plea, but there's a speeding charge from December 31st of 2021. It costs and fines up to $259. How are you pleading to that charge?
Guilty.
Okay. And then I received a request for driver safety course, but you missed a court date. And that statute, that law is real specific that when you miss a court date, then you waive it. So my next thing is I could look at a deferral, but I'm also trying to figure out, do you have bills that you pay?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I got my phone and then my car insurance and car payment. That's about it.
Okay. Are you living with family?
My mom, yes, ma'am.
Do you have income?
Yes, ma'am. Now I do.
Okay. Where are you working?
I just started working at Wilson Art.
Okay. And what do you do there?
We make a lot of like laminated things. Like
what's your job title?
I'm not sure. I just started it.
Okay, that's fine. Do you know your take-home pay yet?
I had my first check was last Friday. It was $1,074.
And y'all are paid when there? What day of the week?
On Friday.
Is it every Friday or every other Friday?
Every Friday.
Okay. Was that 1 week of work for you, or was that like, sometimes it doesn't work that way because of the new starting?
It was 1 week.
Okay. All right. And so I have to figure out, what's your phone bill like?
My phone bill?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I don't really like mess with my phone bill. My sister and them usually mess with it.
You don't pay it? You told
me
I
just a
do.
second ago. Yes, yes, ma'am, I do.
What do you pay?
I think it's like 60 or 70 something. I don't really remember.
Okay. And then your car insurance, you pay that too?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your portion of that?
I pay the whole thing.
How much is it?
I think It's 354.
Okay, and what kind of car?
It's a Nissan Altima,
What year?
2017.
What?
2017.
Okay. And what's your payment, your car payment?
It's 306 or 309 after I pay it over the phone.
Okay. Okay, so on this charge for speeding, what can you pay towards your balance today?
Today, at the moment, I'm not able to.
Okay, what can you pay on? Can you pay it on Friday?
This coming Friday?
Yes.
Probably a little bit.
But what, I'm not sure what the hangup is. I mean, you've got bills of about $600 and you're making $1,000 a week. So what's going to keep you from paying at least half of this on Friday?
I paid $200 for rent to stay at my.
You didn't tell me that. You
mom's
just
place.
told me that you live there for free. That's what you said. So you're changing that.
Oh well, I didn't know you was asking if I was staying here for free, but
Your mother,
I am staying here.
Pay that a month, every month,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're paying it this Friday.
Yes, ma'am. Cause I would have been paid off the ticket, but the job that I had at that moment, it turned out to be like a fraudulent job, so I didn't get paid. So
I'm not
I had
talking about why you didn't pay it. I'm trying to figure out a deferred structure that keeps us off your record. That's what I'm trying to do with you right now. Okay.
I'm sorry.
You said you wanted a deferred to keep this off your record, right?
I mean, yes, ma'am.
Or do you just want to pay the ticket? Because a deferred is a little bit more of, there's some more trouble to it.
Well,
Deadlines and dates, and I'm trying to pin them down, and it's not that you're resisting, but you don't seem to be cueing in that I'm trying to focus your attention. So I'm trying to focus you on it. But if you don't care about that, I certainly don't need to make you do that. Okay. We can set up a payment plan if you would prefer to do that. And can just be like $25 every other week, if you want to set up a payment plan.
Yes, ma'am. At the moment, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this Friday, can you pay $25?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then every other week you're paying $25. Okay.
All right, yes, ma'am.
I do need your signature on that. Can you just come by the court and sign up for it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What time can we look for you today?
I can come in about an hour or
Okay.
just as soon as possible, really.
Yeah, come on over. We can do that. That's easy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Drummond. How are you this morning, sir? I'll just ask you to unmute. That's going to help me a lot.
There we go.
Great. So,
Fine. How you doing?
yeah, thank you. I'm quite well. We gave you a couple of extensions to get a license.
Yeah.
And so where are you on that?
Not gonna be able to do it because of the in Bishop, the case that's in Bishop, there was a plea of guilty. So I was just gonna waive the deferral and just pay the fine.
Okay. What's the holdup with Bishop? I know you said there was a finding of guilty or a plea of
A
guilty.
plea of guilty, and it's still gonna show up on my record.
Did it trigger a further suspension?
Yeah, so
How long is that gonna be?
I have no idea yet.
Okay. Because this will too, even if we defer it. So I was kind of hoping you get that you know, because I don't think I don't have a hold on your license. And so
Yeah.
I'm not holding you up. So one option is for you to get an occupational license. And
Right.
did I give you that paperwork last time?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I have that paperwork. I would be willing to extend you another 60 days.
60 days?
Yeah, if you want to work on getting an occupational license.
Yes.
Sometimes I call that a bridge license. Okay, it's not really called that. That's just my pet name because it's like a bridge between a bad license to a good license.
Correct.
It's kind of a process. Basically you can go online and get all this information and print it out if you want to. I have a printout of it for you. I need your signature on an extension to make sure. And so if you can swing by the court sometime today to sign that extension, we can hand you this how-to. What's up?
Can I do that Friday? I'm working 10-hour days and I'm in Copper's Cove, but we're off on Friday.
Okay. Yes.
I could get it right up there before 10 o'clock.
That'd be fine. All right. Okay. So, and then we'll have that for you as well. And it'll kind of walk you through how to know where to go to do all that. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Drummond. And then we'll see you with that occupational. Don't wait. You're going to want to read this all this weekend, sort out what you need to do, fill it all out, find the court that you need to go to, and go file it because you'll need to get a court date.
Yes, ma'am.
From that judge. And that's a whole different everything. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
There's also information if you can't afford the filing fee. There's information about what to do with that. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. We'll see you Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Drummond, I'm going to let you go.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Brown, are you able to get on screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Good. I'm well, thank you.
That's
I have
good.
a couple of things I just want to verify, but before we do that, I'm just going to move Mr. Matson forward. So Mr. Matson, I know you were talking to, let's see. Please excuse me. Could you remind me?
Miss Laria?
Laria. She's not on screen. So let me see. Sometimes people just aren't quite realizing how to get back over. Let's give her a second. See if that happens. I've tried to move her. There we go.
There she is.
Hi, Miss Laria. Good morning. So I'll let you.
Morning.
Thank you so much. Mr. Matson, are we moving to resolution or are we moving to trial?
We are moving to resolution, Your Honor.
What does that look like?
This was Miss Laria's first offense, so I'm going to go ahead and I offered her a deferral. So she's going to make the full payment on Friday.
Okay.
And then she's going to have 60 days to complete a driver's safety course and submit the certificate of completion to the court.
Okay, that's on May 24th. Got it.
And then the deferral period as a whole will run for 120 days.
Okay, until July 26th.
Yes, Your Honor.
So sometimes you'll notice, Mr. Matson and Miss Laria's probably noticed it too, that it's not quite exactly 120 days. I like to land those on court dates just in case it needs our attention, that we're front and center ready if that person's calling or if we have them scheduled. So that's why we may say 120 days, but it's really like 122. It's so that if you need something, I'm here available to you in case. So the end date will be July 26th. The class due, a driver safety course due May 24th, and payment due March 25th. Miss Laria, can I get your signature on that today through email, or do you need to come by the court?
Would I have to come by today?
I need a signature today. I can email it to you if you can print it.
It would be my mom's email that you have, and I'm not sure if she knows how to do all that. So just like, let me ask her if she could drive me over there.
Okay. I'll wait.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Matson, I'm going to go ahead and let you and Miss Dixon, and then after that, Mr. Wolf. Miss Dixon, I'm going to go ahead and send you over to that room to meet with Mr. Matson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Laria?
Yes.
I'm going to just wait for you to tell me.
Oh yeah, my mom said we could just go over there today.
Okay. Do you know around what time? Any idea?
When can we go, Mom? When can we go?
As soon as you're done with that.
Oh, as soon as I'm done with this, we'll head that way.
Okay, we'll have everything at the front desk for you. Once you get here, it should only take about.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Brown, I reviewed everything that you gave me. Thank you. There's a handful of things I just want to kind of confirm and figure out with you. There are actually, sorry, there's 4 cases. Well, there's actually several cases, but 3 of them had pleas that I needed to get from you. And one was a seatbelt to the driver charge from 2015. It has a warrant, and you entered a plea of guilty. There was a charge of an expired motor vehicle registration, and that was from April 14th of 2015. And I have a plea of guilty on that charge. Excuse me. And then a violation of the promise to appear. That just means, not coming to court on time.
Yes, ma'am.
On those April 2015 charges. And I just want to confirm those are your pleas today. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then I had a couple of outstanding balances, which will roll into everything that we're doing, except for one thing, or 3 things. There's 3 parking tickets that I can't put into my court order because it's a different process. But they're listed here, and they have to do with parking over the legal limit of 2 hours downtown. One is October 4th of 2018. It's $85. There's
I gave a card to my mom, and she worked at the blood donor center, and that was all her charges. But I guess my name is on the vehicle, so I'll be responsible. But I never worked downtown. It was my mother. And she never told me about these tickets. I found out when I applied for court.
Okay. So just to kind of highlight those real quickly, because I just need to give you some information about how that kind of works. October 19th is the next one. That one's $85. And then March 8th of 2019, that one's $85. Those have to be paid in full, like each one of $85. They can't be into like a payment plan or a community service plan. So I just want to let you know that it might be best to contact the front desk again and just figure out when you're going to pay those.
Okay.
On the rest of the balance. So that's actually, if you total them together, and that I don't think you have to pay it the whole number at once. It's $255. But I do think that you have to pay $85 each time.
Okay.
In other words, you could do one each month, but they're not going to put it into a payment plan.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
It's just going to be sitting there sort of haunting the situation until it's done.
Yes, ma'am.
But that our man, that is loud. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to take that off of what we're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
So that puts your balance at $1,585.30.
Mm-hmm.
Total for cases. Minus the parking. And then what I would be doing with that balance is ordering community service.
Okay.
And that would total 80 hours.
Okay.
And right now I would start with a due date of May 24.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to give more time, but I'll need you to request an extension on or before May 24.
Okay.
And give me what you've got at that point. And my next question for you, I'd like to get you to come up to the court to sign for everything and let me give you the documents, because I have a list of providers, instructions, and a way to document your hours. And can I get that from your signature today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When should we look for you?
Today, I guess like 1 or just before 5, if that's
Okay,
possible.
try to make it 4:30 because you'll need a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Once you sign for everything, I'll get all your warrants recalled. And you can you pay one of those parking tickets today?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, if you can pay 1 or 2 or 3 of them, that's great, but just one, at least one would be great. And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
maybe set a goal for paying the rest of them, or another one next month. And then by the time, if you did that, by the time you got to the, you should make your mother pay it. But by the time you got to the, by the time you got to the final due date, and they don't affect your driving record, so that's good. By the time you got to your final due date, you'd be done. You did one a month.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How many are there? Is 3?
3.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's the plan. Okay. And we'll just have everything at the front desk for you. Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. And so these community service things, they are they're places in Temple.
They are now. I don't have any in Killeen. I used to try to keep track of that. And honestly, businesses that are nonprofits come and go at an alarming rate over there in Killeen. And I just never could. I would list one and that would frustrate people more. So any nonprofit under Texas law can count. I don't care. Now I have one in Belton at the Expo, because believe it or not, that's actually a nonprofit. Your churches, nursing homes, animal services, library, anything like that, food banks, clothing donation stores that are nonprofits, Goodwill sometimes will do it, sometimes they won't. We used to have Goodwill in Killeen, in Harker Heights, and then they stopped being willing to do that. So I can't give you like a ready-made list, but you can do anything on my list, or what you will have in the front of my list is some instructions that say any nonprofit is acceptable.
Yes, ma'am. And you said nursing homes?
Nursing homes, yes. Just as long, now it can't just be like, someone working there. It has to be a person who's authorized to sign for that, because there are tax consequences to it. So a supervisor has to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Those are good questions. Do you have any further questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. We'll have everything at the front for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Attorney Wolf, how are you today?
Doing well, Judge. How are you?
I'm well. I had slighted Miss Dixon before we began, because I think I offended her about the driving comment. And I just couldn't then just, put you right in front of her. There's just that appearance of a problem, and I don't.
It's okay.
Pro se litigant. But we are going to just stay here until you're done. And I've noticed you've had to kind of log in and out, or go on and off screen for whatever reasons. It's fine. But we haven't forgotten about you. Have you heard how Mr. Vasquez is doing?
I haven't recently. I saw him last week, but did something happen to Mr. Backus?
Well, I'm calling his case because he got a ticket and set it for a pretrial.
Oh,
I was like,
I-
well, maybe sometimes I ask that, and local attorneys will say he's been really sick. He is in and out. So it doesn't sound
yeah.
maybe
All
not.
I know is that sounds like it's, that's a common thing that's happened recently.
Yeah, I think so. But we'll just show cause him and let it go to warrant. See what he wants to do at that point, I suppose. Hopefully it doesn't get all the way to that. You never know. How are things at the county?
They're good. I'm actually over in Falls County today, and so
You have a practice over there? Or Miss May? I guess you work with Miss May. No. I'm so sorry. No, that's not you. I'm sorry. Who are you with? Are you solo?
I am solo. Yes, ma'am. I share office space with Steve Lee and Tim Mahler, but solo by choice, I guess they say.
Okay. Does that put you next door to us when you're in Temple? No, Mr. Lee's not over here. I'm sorry. I'm just was looking down at Mr. Blight's name. Y'all are over there in Belton, right?
We just moved in September over to the Bird Creek area, so we are in Temple now.
Oh, okay.
Just a little further away.
That seems to be a growing trend.
Mm-hmm.
More attorneys moving over to Temple.
The folks that we were renting our house from decided to put in a vineyard in the back, and so I think they were transitioning into some other business, and we didn't have a spot in it, so we found another place up here, which is great. It's a great location.
Yeah, Bird Creek is nice, easy on and off the highway, but not too. I know Mr. Marina and I sometimes communicate since we have sent. I know he's looking something kind of similar happening in his state. So he's looking around at options. I know it's such a pretty little spot. The spot that's kind of behind where the Jack in the Box is. Not quite Bird Creek, but that's where Diane DeLisi's office used to be over there. And it's like wooded and very pretty, but I don't know what happens if you're handicapped. I guess there is a way, but I don't know how you get in that building if you're handicapped.
It does look difficult to get in and out, but it is. I think there was an opening there around the time we were looking, and it just didn't fit for us. But the building itself, the interior looked really nice.
Yeah,
like it was really finished out well.
And always shade.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. We'll let you cool your heels, and it shouldn't be much longer.
All right. Thank you.
I'm just going to sit here and review paperwork.
Sounds good. Now I'm here. I'll just mute myself and everything so I'm not a distraction.
Don't worry. That's fine. We have two more people. There's one in pretrial and one in waiting to go into pretrial. Why? Oh, sure. What's up? She's in a place. Okay. Sure. That's fine. Yeah. I think it would be best to waive it. Is she innocent? Okay. Did she do the essay already? Okay. Do we think she's going to? Okay. I'm going to waive the class. I think she's doing enough. Let's count her treatment. I'll just say. I know you're transitioning, but is that okay with you?
Yes.
As team court person?
Yeah, actually, I didn't send some medical stuff in.
Yeah, I would need them.
Okay, I just wanted to double check with you. So that's why I had her just give me copies of it.
Yeah, thanks for letting me review it. And I did reference treatment on here, but I didn't reference where or any type of, what it was. I just referenced it. That's what we're counting. Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Thank you. Good catch. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Matson, Miss Dixon. Miss Dixon, how are you today?
Tired.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. If you can stay unmuted if you wish. But I wanted to hear from y'all. Are we heading to resolution or heading to trial?
Ms. Dixon would like to head to trial, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Dixon, we have the next pretrial is a live pretrial April 20th at 2:00 is your time schedule, okay?
Okay.
So we'll plan to see you then, okay?
Okay.
Here at the court.
Okay.
Thank you.
Judge Person, before Ms. Dixon leaves, we were discussing when she is available for if we do proceed to trial.
Yes.
She is heading to Fort McCoy on May 20th.
Okay.
And then, Ms. Dixon, when do you return to Fort Hood?
June 2nd.
Okay.
And then she is leaving Fort Hood entirely on June 29th.
Well, I don't know what to say, ma'am. I mean, I can give you a court schedule and I can try to work within the constraints, but if you want trial, you have to be available to trial, to attend trial. There's just not a way to say I want trial, but I don't want to have to go to trial. Those are a conflict. What were your dates again? May 5th? Did I get that right?
May 20th, because we deal with units that are deploying, so I don't have any option not to be here. I can't say I can't go. We're dealing with units that deploy overseas, so we're going to do the exercise for a unit that's deploying.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just that, you're wanting a trial, and I'm not going to be able to create a reality if it isn't a reality. That said, so you'll be here the 20th of April, and I have a jury setting. It looks like I can. Wait, when do you leave? Leave? Like you're back June 2nd, right?
Yes.
And then what was the further thing?
The final date that I will be gone from Fort Hood is June 29th, because I'm only here for 1 year.
Okay, if we set it on the 22nd, I have that available. That said, I mean, as long as, both parties have the ability to move their case for a reason. And I don't know, the first setting, if for example, if an officer gets sent to training, it's kind of like you, I accommodate that, the first time that happens. So I can set it June 22nd. And who's the officer on this one? I don't know that officer at all, Edwin Guzman. So, I mean, we would reach out pretty quickly and just kind of try to let that officer know, hey, it's going to be set there, is there going to be a conflict? And I'll try I'll try to get some information before April when you're here to talk to us. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So thanks for letting me know the dates. I'm going to try really hard to work within them. Okay? And I'm just making a note. for that date. Okay. All right. Can we reach out to that officer? Okay. All right. I'm going to just send a note. I'm going to have the clerk that coordinates with witnesses.
So I'll be showing up to the one on April 20th.
Yeah, we're going to see you April 20th at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. And Mr. Metson, Mr. Wolf's ready to go as well. I'm gonna send you on over, Mr. Wolf, to that meeting room.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. This is the last one, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you.
Are you talking to me? Hold on. I didn't hear you. Give me a second. Mr. Wolf, yeah. This is a no-show person. I just did what the best I could do on that. Okay. All right, this is Mariah George, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, are we heading to a resolution? Or are we heading to a trial?
We are heading towards a resolution on this one, Your Honor.
Okay, and so
That's correct, Judge.
we're set right now for April 20th. Do we need, are we going to stay on that date for a resolution? And if so, what does it look like?
So right now we're looking at a 120-day deferral. Ms. George will provide completion of the driver safety course by the 60th day of the deferral.
That's May 24th. Okay.
And then a clean driver record by the 30th day.
And Judge, just for clarification, I'm asking for some time to relay that offer to my client before I accept.
Okay. All right. So.
And I can do that before the April 20th date if that should be plenty of time.
Yeah. So really what I do is I don't really get involved yet. I go ahead and let y'all have that agreement. And if y'all get me paperwork by April 20th, it sounds like it's very much in keeping with something I would sign. I'm anticipating that I wouldn't have trouble with it. And that way it's an open case until April 20th at 1 o'clock. My expectation is if I don't have paperwork leading to a final conclusion, you're both here. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
But the terms and conditions sound like they would be reasonable to me. Does that work for both of you?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to excuse you both.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And seeing no further persons, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting as well.